upon. I declare, I'm going to declare a quorum, and we will all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I pledge the Texas flag, honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible. It's a learning curve. It's a learning curve. I threw everybody off there. Yeah, I threw everybody off there.
David, when I was there for 15 years, I never learned that.
Well, I still haven't learned it, so. We have a public comment, Mr. Wade Spence. You want to come up and, Mr. Wade Spence is a, he's with North Southern, he's a commercial real estate. He's a broker / owner. I've been kind of talking to him and Mr. Clark about a piece of property that the city owns where the old wastewater treatment plant was. For most of y'all that know, for most of y'all who know, the Highway 69, Interstate 69 is going to be kind of going through that area. Mr. Spence here was kind of looking at the property and was going to come and just talk to us briefly about some opportunities that the city could have there with that property. Mr. Huerta, can you maybe provide that for him? Did the light come on?
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
That's it.
Yes.
Good. Hi, my name's Wade Spence. I own a brokerage in Corpus Christi called New Southern Commercial Real Estate, and my purpose today is just to kind of come and not sell you anything, but just answer some questions. If you have questions about what I do as a real estate broker, how I can help, or how somebody in my position can help with either the acquisition or disposition of property, whether that be for sale or to roll into a deal in order to create ongoing income with some of the companies that are coming through town. Based on the development tempo in our area with companies like Steel Dynamics and Tesla and some of the other ones that are rumored to be in the area, it's important that people know that you have property available, whether it be for residential development or for commercial development, because there's other entities and municipalities that are actively marketing property and individuals that are actively marketing property in and around the area. So the property that the city owns, it's very important that people know about it, that it's marketed not only locally, but nationally and internationally. And the people who are fielding the phone calls in Nueces County and San Patricio County know that you have a parcel that has rail, that has good high power, that has utilities to it, and has an clean environmental, which will allow it for these companies to come and make easy decisions on the front end in order to engage with that property or not. If a property is just sitting there and they don't know about it, it becomes a challenge and usually ends up sitting and becomes a low bidder's war for that piece of property. Where if you're on the front end, it becomes a much more valuable piece of property. The property that I've been presented with or have been shown is a smaller tract that's kind of out 77, a little bit north of the elevator. Is that correct?
Correct.
Drainage ditch kind of runs adjacent to it.
Correct.
There is a company right now that is a smaller version of Steel Dynamics that is looking for a 20-acre tract of property. Did you guys know about that?
No.
This is kind of, they're actively looking. I have an email this weekend from an individual saying that if I have any tracks, submit those tracks for this company to evaluate. So it's just a prime example of how there's companies that are out here that we don't even know about. Right. And so if you're out there and you're in the front and you have it in the people's hands that can put it in front of them, at least you get a fair chance as a community.
Right.
And I grew up in a small community that makes Odom look like a metropolitan museum. I graduated with 8 kids in my senior class. You only get one chance at some of these businesses. And when they're on your doorstep, you want to be in a position to say no to them, not for them not to know that you're there. So if they come and it's not a right fit for you, you want to be able to say, yeah, we're not interested in that business, whether they're too noisy, too loud, too dirty, too whatever, but you want to make sure that you have the opportunity to turn them down, because there's not a guarantee there's another one behind them.
So I think we spoke a little bit about, I-69. It's about probably 6 to 8 years down the road if everything goes on as planned, and it based on the plans that they put, it will potentially be going right through, or right just, I guess, east of that property there. So what kind of companies do you think would be looking for a track like that? I mean,
So based on the proximity to rail and power, you're going to look for primarily an industrial group, I would think, that would utilize that. It's kind of on the outskirts of town. Somebody that could utilize the access to rail, that may want to spur off that, which would be ideal, to use to either to stack cars or to basically use to produce something to get on the rail in order to get in the chain of transportation. Lots of rail companies are in the network right now, looking to do different types of rail yards based on the amount of traffic that we have in the Port of Corpus Christi. And this I-77 corridor is prime for it, because it's out of way far enough that they can do different things with it, and it stays on the Union Pacific line, and it's before the Kansas City intersection in Robstown.
Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong, but some of the things that I've read is a lot of these companies that you're talking about are kind of getting away from, using semis because of the cost of fuel, where a train can haul a lot more, on one trip than, semis can. So being that we're in a position where we could, they could spur off of, I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's something that I've read.
It is. And so what they're doing is they're using, Clark, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the transmodal type operations, where they're transferring from train to truck for shorter hauls instead of the longer hauls. And it's trying to lessen traffic on our highways and increase the efficiency of moving product across the country and across countries.
Yeah, if you want to get an idea, you don't have much space to deal with, obviously, but sometimes drive down the Gulf corridor, and the one company that's a very large company that nobody has ever heard of, called Watco, has a contract to do all the rail switching business with the Port of Corpus Christi, and they put in multiple parallel rail lines down there. A unit train is 100 cars, okay? And each one of those sidings, if you will, is built to retain and hold stage, unit train. And you'll see down there oil tankers that are being loaded, there are tower engine, rack down there. What I've seen recently, I've been working out in Henryville, so I drive back and forth on the road each coming going today. But one of the cars I noticed down there recently was an African rail car. I couldn't figure out what it was for. So I could never seen one before. And I got poking around looking on the net and did some Google searching and found out what is a special purpose mill car that holds rolled steel, such as produced at steel aluminums. And they can put 4 to 6, of these, very heavy, rolled steel products, on these cars, and they transport those all over the country. You've probably seen a lot of these float trailers, the long flat trailer running around town, where they've got one of those rolled steel on that whole long trailer.
Right.
Well, they got plenty of space. They just don't have the gross weight over the road capacity.
Mhm.
But on the rail, they can get, I say, 4 to 6 of the same thing. So it's much more efficient, to handle and move it that way. But we've almost got an infinite combination of options and opportunities. So many things are coming, the names you hear and things change almost, every day. Some of these things are just code words right now with the various EDCs. But, when the big guys like Tesla start showing up, and then Steel Dynamics on the opposite end, where Odom is situated between those two places, it's about midpoint.
Right.
And you got 26,000 cars passing through here as it is right now every day.
Right.
And take a look at the TxDOT report for what Portland has, and it's between 55 and 60, thousand. So, for the size and what's going on in Portland, and the size and space that's in Odom, you got half the traffic count. So there's ample opportunity to take advantage of that,
Right.
that development.
Does anyone have any other questions for Mr. Spence? Well, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Mr. Spence.
And I'm
we'll-
available if you have any questions or and concerns. But like I said, I think y'all are in a unique position. I think Clark will agree. And if there's anything we do to help, we'd love to help.
We'll definitely.
I do. Got a whole bunch of cards. Thank you all. Have a nice
Thank you.
evening.
So we're going to move on to our monthly and quarterly reports. We're going to start with Alliance. Stephanie?
Good evening. Tonight's report is for June 1 through the 25th. We had a total of 45 calls for the month, 31 of them being in the city of Odom. 5 of them were out of compliance, giving us a 82.7% response time. With it being shut down at the 25th, we missed 4 days of data, which is about approximately 11 calls. Your first one, the crew was actually swapping out some oxygen with the Sinton. So Sinton was posting, and as they were passing is when the call dropped. So they were just outside the city limits when they were crossing each other. Your second one, we were unable to GPS track. That one, we're still trying to go back on data to see if we can get access to that. The third one, the crew was just south of Odom coming back from Northwest ER. The fourth one, looking at the camera, it shows that they got caught in traffic trying to get out of the station. It was a brief, but then they got caught by the train. And then the last one, the GPS took them to the wrong side of 631. Initially, earlier in the day, they were on this side of 631. And then when they went back to that street, but it was a different address, it was actually on the other side of 631. So the GPS shows them driving in a circle trying to find this address in the dark. 2 calls into the city limits were mutual aided from Sinton. Your average response time was 6 minutes, seconds for your primary truck. Your secondary average response time was 12 minutes. And then there were 14 county calls, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them were mutual aids into your response area from other areas of those county calls. Yes, sir.
I noticed a bunch of them are repeats, like 200, well, I'm not gonna mention, not something. There's a bunch of repeats on here. Are those wellness checks or what are those?
Some of them are, others are, it's maybe a one that falls quite a bit that needs help up.
One was
It
at
just-
3 and then they came back at 10 o'clock at night. And then the
Right.
other one was at, almost day after that. So
We do have a couple that we respond to quite frequently, whether it be elderly or someone that's disabled in the younger crowd. It just kind of depends.
There's a bunch.
But it's not just to Odom. We have them in different areas as well.
Y'all have contact with the train when something like that happens or?
No, we don't. No, sir.
They'll just have to sit there and wait.
They try to find a different route, but then they have to contemplate or put into how long is it going to take them to get out and around to backtrack versus sitting for the train. So they have to take that into consideration.
Anyone else have any
How you hold
questions?
up in the heat over there? Get some good air conditioning?
It's hot. I'm trying to keep everyone hydrated.
Have we been having any issues with like elderly or anybody like that?
Not that's been reported to this area specifically. I have in some of my other areas, like Aransas County, and some different areas and other areas in San Patricio County, where it's
Okay.
getting super hot, and you're just not staying hydrated. The older these older population, they're not used to drinking lots of water, and so trying to get them to drink lots of water kind of puts a damper on things.
So is there anything that you guys can put out that maybe we can share on our website, maybe on social media about, checking up on, elderly family members or stuff like that? Any kind of,
I can
something-
come up with something and send it on to Janie.
Yeah.
We also in Aransas County, we have this the Rapid SOS program with the dispatching center. And if you notice, anyone that's got a cell phone, you can do. I know on Apple, I don't know if you can do it on Android, but you put your medical ID information in there. That way, if a first responder shows up and you're unresponsive, we still have access to your medical information, like your name, date of birth, social, doctors, meds, everything. You can actually share it, set it up to share it, and then the Rapid SOS, if you call 911, whether you're in Rockport, Corpus, whoever, when that 911 call comes in to their dispatch center, it will share that information and dispatch can send it on to us as well. And it also gives you a more accurate pinpoint location as well, calling from a cell phone.
So it uses the cell phone location?
Yes.
Okay.
So I can send that information on. I went in and logged on to the website that they have, and it was real simple to fill out. You can fill it out on your phone, but if someone that doesn't necessarily have a cell phone, it's whatever phone number you register,
Uh-huh.
it'll have all that information attached to it too. So I can send that information as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something San Pat's using. I know Aransas County is, and a lot of the other areas are starting to pull to it. So it might be something to
I
push
think
on.
that'd be something, yeah, if you can get it to Ms. Janie.
Okay.
Because I know that, right now with utilities, some people are not turning on the air conditions all day
Right.
long. They're kind of opening their windows, and sometimes that's kind of the worst thing you could do. And so if we can just put some kind of information out there to the community, about checking in on elderly and that's a great, that's something really I've never heard of, and if we can share that with the community, I think that'd be pretty great.
I'll create
Okay.
something to send to Janie
Okay.
with some tips because, a lot of people like to drink coffee, especially the old timers do it all day. Tea, it's South Texas, they like their tea, but all the caffeine in all your drinks is actually a natural diuretic. So
Right.
it makes you more dehydrated versus drinking water and maybe some sports drinks. So I'll put something together for you. Yes.
Thank you so
Mhm.
much. Next is Ms. Judge Guerrero.
Good evening to everyone there.
Good evening, Judge.
Attorney Isase, Jamie, and the public. Do y'all have a copy or do I need to pass one out?
I think we have one, ma'am.
Okay, there's your totals for the third quarter, which is April, May, and June. And you can see there on the first one, the monthly totals that was collected in revenue, $34,007.68. Next, it tells you how much was kept by the city and the state, how much was turned into the state of Texas. And so you can see the grand totals for the third quarter of the first quarter, second quarter, and third quarter. And 83,213 was kept by the city. And the second one was submitted to the city. And the last one was for the state of Texas. In the middle, you can see how many cases were active and inactive, reactive. And that gives you all the totals. And this is talking about citations that were active and inactive. And the bottom one is how many citations were issued in the month of June and how many violations. You see that there's more violations than citations because sometimes they issue a citation with 2 charges on the ticket. So that adds it up to where it's more violations than citations. And we have a real heavy telephone usage, people coming in with pleas, making payments, pre-trial conferences that we've been having with the city attorney. And so we have a lot of court when the prosecutor is there. Credit card payments is just something that we cannot stop. People call in wanting to make payments on their fine and court costs. And then we're current on all state reports. And I don't know if y'all have a second one attached to there. Do y'all have a second one? It was only meant to be one. The second one was last year. And you can see the totals from last year to the totals of this year. For example, the third quarter, you can see the April, May, and June. And so quite a lot was collected more this year, this quarter than it was last quarter. But the first page is for last year. This is a report for June the 1st through June the 25th.
Judge, how many of these go to Lamberger and Lamberger for collections?
I would say about 20%, sir.
20%?
20%, yes.
The collection rate's good or no?
Well, we've gone down because we're short-staffed. One of my part-time clerks was taken away from me, so we're short now, and we don't have. What's her name, Mayor? Karina was taken by the city, and so we are short-handed. So now we don't have anybody to collect revenue, and we're just staying further and further behind till something can be done, hopefully.
So you're short one part-time?
One, yes, sir.
So y'all just stop?
Well, it's just that we have so much going on, sir, that she would do one thing, the other one would do another, I do another, and with 2 people there, it is so complicated to send in reports and try to collect people and talk to people on the phone. We don't have as many people there to phone calls and to call them and tell them that their money is due and so forth. So it's put a damper on the money that's collected. Yes, sir.
When did that person come over here?
Jenny,
The
when
first,
When did that person come over to the city?
the first, I believe.
I believe so.
Yes,
Latter
about the
part of
first.
June, around the first. She hasn't been there that long.
Maybe about a month or 3 weeks, something like that, sir. Yes. She was there all of June. Yes, it'll drop.
Because she was just.
Yes,
About a month, right?
next month we'll see if it drops. Yes. was there in June.
Was she there in May?
Yes, sir.
Was she there in April?
Yes, sir.
So you won't know until the next month.
But we'll work our hardest that we can to see what we can do as far as trying to, catch up with everything that we're falling behind on, and hopefully that we can, increase the revenue. That's the most important thing for me. Any other questions?
Anybody have a question? Any more questions? Thank you.
Judge?
Welcome.
John Redgate.
Mr. Redgate's not here to give his report. He's had surgery, I think about a week ago or so. So he's still kind of recovering. I think he had something with his jaw or tooth or something. So, but yes, we have the monthly maintenance report. It's just kind of a brief breakdown of some of the projects that were done in June. And then the maintenance department also provided the June work orders. I know that they worked on, I believe it was last week, they worked on 2 main water leaks. Our guys were out in about neck deep in mud and water, trying to shut down. I know one of the leaks behind Flournoy, Ms. Candela, her husband actually reported water in the ditch. And when we went out there to take a look at it, it was like an underwater spring. It literally was just coming out from underground. And Mr. Barnes, David Barnes, went out there and him and Kyle, luckily, is that his last name? Luckily. They got on it quick, and they were, like I said, they were up to their chest in mud and water and took care of it. And then that was on 4th of July, and that was their day off. So they came out on 4th of July and took care of that. And then the very next day, there was another main water leak, and they were again in the mud. So if there are any questions, feel free to contact Mr. Redgate.
You're gonna see a lot of leaks right now because it hasn't rained. So every year you'll see where there's, I would say like 20 leaks in a month, maybe. So,
yeah, well,
there's a lot of water.
when you're losing water like that, that water comes through our master meter. So the city's paying for it, and then it's just being shot out into the ground somewhere. And, the city's not recouping. And that's kind of one of the big revenue streams for the city is our water. So when you have thousands of gallons of water being spewed out like that, it hurts the city substantially. So if you guys are ever out there and you see water, a patch of grass that's really green while everything else is brown, please let somebody know so we can go take a look at it. Because it's probably just another water leak. We're gonna go, Chief Beltran, Fire Chief Beltran. This is another group of guys that, I can't say enough about what they do and getting out there, and that big grass fire that we had a few weeks ago. If you look, you could see that thing from Corpus. I was on SPID and 37, I think, and I could see it from there.
Yeah, they said they were seeing it from, I think, from Bishop around Kingsville area.
So for these guys to be out there in the heat, in their suits, and I know we had the 4th of July thing, and some of the kids were putting on the suits, and they were like, "It's hot in this thing." So I appreciate everything you guys do.
No problem. So for the third quarter, goes from April to June. For April, we had 3 calls outside the city limits and 2 inside the city. For May, we had 5 outside the city limits and 2 inside the city limits. And then for June, we had 7 outside the city limits and 2 inside. So that totals out to 15 for the quarter outside the city limits and totals out for 6 inside the city limits. Members right now we're sitting at 18. Donations, grants, none for this quarter. And expenses for May, we didn't have any for April, was $148.19 for fuel. And for June was $177.70 for fuel also. And then back in May, we had some batteries that we replaced on brush 3, which totaled out for $277.90. And then upcoming for the fourth quarter, still working on the Fire 6, the tanker that's at Freightliner, and then the pump for brush 2 that's coming up. They should have had it already started. Actually, by the end of this week, they'll start on it.
These inner city calls, were those structural or what were the calls?
I gotta look into it, but it was either accidents or usually lift assist with EMS.
Jane, are we getting the money from the county for those fires in the county?
We get it once a year. We've already put in the paperwork. We just haven't received it. We usually don't receive it till about late August, early September,
So they do it yearly or they do it?
yearly.
Yeah.
They do it yearly.
And it's
Mhm.
based on the fire calls.
It's still average about 30,000 a year.
Last year we had a lot more calls last year outside, so it might be a little bit more.
Oh,
Yeah.
So looking at this, how many brush trucks do you have?
Right now we have one, and that fire on 77 it actually went down. We lost a water pump on it, so we got one put in, and I believe we got it in the next day, and it was up and running the next day by night. So
So you have two, but only one's running.
one's running. The other one is at Sins Martin.
And what is it that you're working on by the end of the week?
Is the brush truck that's at Sins Martin getting the pump put on, doing all the fabrication modifications for it.
So you'll have two trucks by when? You'll have the other truck when, he didn't tell you?
No, it depends because they got to send it off to a fabric shop.
Okay.
So just depending how long they take, they said once they finish and they get it, they'll get 2 or 3 guys on it, and it should be like a week and a half. So it just depends on the fab shop.
Okay. The other question I had is you have total members 18, right?
Yeah.
How many members showed up to that fire on 37?
3.
3 out of 18.
Yeah.
And I know they.
And then through the night, we had 2 more show up also.
Okay, and I know they work.
Mhm.
They got other jobs.
Yeah, I came straight from work also.
So is there anything that we can do to help these guys out when there's a fire? Can the city be backup? City employees be backup to the fire department when something like that happens?
Like
During the day they work.
The maintenance?
But the maintenance, that's it, during the day when they can't respond.
Are they now?
Yeah, David used to do it.
They do utilize them when there's, nobody else shows up. They do use David Barnes to drive. But as far as allowing them to go, it just depends what's going on also with us. You know, if they're in a
Right.
water leak, if they're here or there, they can't go. And also that's a big liability if they have gotten
Yeah.
absolutely no training at all from,
Right.
at all,
Yeah,
yes.
that's it.
They would have to attend at least when you're all trained,
Hmm.
and we can't make them, you know what I'm saying? They would have to volunteer
Okay.
on their own.
I think what we can start doing though is pushing a little bit more to try to get more volunteers. I mean, we're really, we're,
Right?
Well, I mean, we used to have 10. So 18 is pretty good, but this next quarter, we're probably going to lose 2 or 3. We hadn't seen them in a while. So we're going to follow up with them. But I mean, we've had 18 is quite a bit. I think we've been up to 20 before, and that didn't last long. Maybe like
But keep
couple
in mind,
months.
just because, like you said, you're gonna have 18, 20 on a fire call, you're only gonna get 4 or 5. I was a volunteer
Right, because they all
fireman for
work
10
out of
years.
town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I was
That's a good
volunteer,
crew, because
yeah,
usually it's 1 or 2
One or two.
during the day. I mean, on a weekend, you probably might see all of us, but
But as far as all
Mhm.
18, you'll never get them all. Not even 2 meetings, am I correct?
maybe
Yeah.
10.
Our officers try to assist as much as they can, of course, with homes and stuff like that. On that first second, I know Dan was there by himself.
Yeah.
So I ended up helping, so did Luke, Officer Thompson, with homes and stuff like that.
Okay.
I've dealt with firefighters, be a volunteer, so I kind of help them out as much as I can, but of course, they're in charge, they can do what they gotta do. But we're not gonna leave anybody alone, we're gonna try to help as much as we can. I know with outside, we're trying to take care of the traffic at the same time,
Right.
but, we try to help the officer, I tell the officer, help them once you can. Don't get in there because you're not a firefighter, but,
Right.
move hoses or do what you gotta do, whatever they tell you you can do.
Okay.
It is hard because
Yeah.
they do work, as the officers that's on shift are going to help out. If it's close enough. Of course, we're not gonna go all the way to Macklin, but anything close enough.
And I know Stephanie left, but were they there?
Yeah.
They were
They
They were
stayed
there.
the
Yeah,
whole time pretty
they were
much
there.
All right.
until we cleared them.
But-
Bayville Volunteer Fire Department just went on Domingo Show Sunday, and that's for volunteers. Anybody 18 and above that had time to volunteer, they were short-handed volunteer firefighters. So y'all might look into that, going to the Domingo Show.
I think we can find ways to kind of promote, because like Billy said, I was a volunteer when I was in high school too, and they would let
And
us
so-
leave, they would
social
let us
media
leave
is-
school
is a big
to
one.
respond to fires, so,
Yeah.
huh?
You were wrong.
Yeah, I was a volunteer here.
Just because you wanted to skip school.
That's
Oh.
right. They let us jump out of the windows in the classroom before we had air conditioning.
That's
so,
why when I joined, I was a senior, so
Yeah.
I got to sign myself out a couple of times.
So we might start pushing some of those juniors and seniors, who want to get into the fire. This is great experience for
Mhm.
them to be out there and
Yeah, for sure.
volunteer and for some of them who want to go to A&M Fire Academy and stuff, to getting this experience is a big plus for them. So let's try to do something like that. Maybe when school starts, maybe we can work with the superintendent where you guys can go do some talks at the school and just do something to kind of
But we
maybe
used to
recruit some
with
volunteers.
the health fair. When they did the health fair, it was for all the schools, the elementary, junior high, high school. But now I think they're only doing certain classes during elementary.
Yeah.
So
let's kind of work on that. You and I can kind of work together and try to find a way to
Mhm.
start reaching some of these, young men and young ladies who want to get into the fire industry. It's a good place to start them for me. I mean, you guys
Mhm.
were doing some really good training that day that I was there, flipping the car and learning how to stabilize a car and cut through it and stuff. And I think that's something that a lot of these kids, I think, would really enjoy.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
So we'll work on that. I appreciate it. Any other questions?
Janie, you mentioned that the county subsidizes according to the amount of calls
Fires.
of fires at okay, so it's not based on population.
No.
Are you gonna be there at the commissioners' court whenever they have that meeting to make sure that they're being fair with us?
I'm not too sure when they have those
Yeah.
meetings.
I mean,
That'd be a
that's
good
what
idea.
Homer said,
Yeah,
well,
Homer,
Yeah, ask him.
Yeah.
Maybe he can.
he usually sits in that, I think that stuff, yeah.
80% at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because y'all attend a lot of fires out there.
It's at least
Oh, yeah.
80%.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, yeah, 80%. Easy.
Mhm.
Mutual aid all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Get them to help with a new truck.
Yeah. Or just fix the ones we have.
That's in the shop right now.
Yeah.
That's the one that's used mostly outside in the county,
hmm
Yeah.
Well, that and the brush truck.
in the brush trucks.
Yeah.
Brush.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend.
Next on the agenda, Police Cherry, our chief.
Mayor, Council. A couple of reports, and we'll start off with the home numbers. With our call for service, as you can see, it's from April to June. We got 320 call for service. Some of the ones that you see blank It's because it has juvenile information, so it doesn't come out in our system. When you say call for service, you're saying the citizen pick up the phone, call 911? No, it could be from 911 to a regular call. It could be to somebody flagging down the officer to go out there. Anytime the officer's gonna make contact, also like when the officer does building checks and stuff like that, we do it as a call for service. That way, if anybody comes back saying, something happened, we go ahead and we make sure that it is documented as call for service. Sometimes what happens is some 911 calls come through regular phone calls, and some regular phone calls come through 911. So it matters what type of call it is. Like today, we had a disturbance. It came through the office. It didn't come through 911. So when we got there, it was a disturbance.
So when they go out on a call like that comes to the city, when they arrive to the scene, do they notify dispatch that they're headed that way?
Yes.
Do they communicate?
Mhm.
So if I got a report from the San Patricio County Dispatch, those calls would be in that report.
Sometimes unless somebody comes to the office, if it's an office call that somebody's going to report something, the officer's already there, and he comes, the officer would just go ahead and take the call there. Sometimes they won't call dispatch. Now, if dispatch calls in that there's a call, then they'll call dispatch, say, hey, we're 10-6 was busy with a complaint or anything like that.
Yeah, but anything that they get, like if they're gonna go, if somebody calls the office and says, hey, I see a suspicious guy walking down the street here, can you send an officer? Even though it didn't go through dispatch or
The officer
911.
will call the dispatch when he makes contact with the person.
Right.
If he makes contact. Sometimes they won't make contact, so they won't even call dispatch. Now, if he does make contact, he'll check out through dispatch saying that he's there.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he wouldn't like notify dispatch, hey, I'm headed to this call.
If it's a major call, yes. That way, if there's another backup or something, because our officers, sometimes are single officers,
Mhm.
no matters what time it is.
Right.
Sometimes a single officer, and sometimes they'll get backup maybe from somebody from sheriff office from TAF or Mathis or anything like that. So if they hear that's a disturbance, they'll call it and say, hey, there's a disturbance, we're headed to a disturbance. Gives them enough time to get over here if they can.
So on this 320 calls, I see a lot of them that are like back to back to back, as far as timeframes.
Sometimes you get suspicious calls that more than one person calls, so we have to put them on there.
So this could be just one call, like say page 3 on April the 6th. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're back from 10:30 to 10:39, 10:53, and 11:06.
Those are walkthroughs. The officers getting off, actually checking a residence or checking a restaurant or something.
But
So-
this would be like one call basically.
No, it's different locations. It's a
Oh,
walkthrough, different locations. He
So
stopped
then-
by to check something, then he goes by to check the other one, goes by to check the other one. Sometimes they ask for routine patrol, so he'll go out there and check, he'll do a call, everything's clear. He'll keep on driving to the next one, everything's clear. So it's actually 4 different calls that he actually
So
did.
this officer was able to go at 10:34 a.m.
It's a walkthrough, it's pretty much just a drive-by as a,
So it's not necessarily a get off and
Correct.
walk through.
Correct.
Like it says here, walk
Yeah.
through.
yeah, because
And then-
we go and put it identified as a walkthrough when it's either he's gonna get off or it's gonna be actually something that he just checks the residence, that nobody's supposed to be there or anything like that.
So then like 5 minutes later, he's at another location. And then what?
Mhm. Sometimes
13
it
minutes
could be
later.
walkthroughs like that, or sometimes what happens is somebody asks for a suspicious person, you get a call, you're getting off of it, they call you again, hey, this guy now's over here, now you see him over here, so he's gonna log it in as soon as he gets it in there.
So, I mean, but it could be like, again, and I'm gonna go, and then just because you said there was 320 calls, but I mean, some of these are pretty like the 1, 2, 3, 4, page 5 on May the 18th.
What number is it?
May the 18th,
206?
208 to 212,
Those are building checks.
building checks.
Mhm.
So he got off and walked around. That's all different buildings. I mean, there's 816, 817, 817, 818.
I would have to look at it.
you know.
Because I don't have the actual address on there.
So, I mean, to me, this would be like one call, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 calls. And that's kind of in
Well,
the
like I
whole, in
said,
the
I have to
report.
look at it. I don't have the addresses on
Yeah.
there and the response to it. If I go detailed into it, I can look at the message that he left on there, why he put it on there and stuff like that.
Right.
So-
So that's kind of, just want to be able to
Mhm.
be able, when we see these reports, I would like to see, you know, something that's a little bit more.
I can't
You
put
know,
addresses or actual people because it's still open investigation, some of them. And if I can't just pick someone to give me the addresses, it's my system, when it does the whole thing, it has to, if it gives address to one, it's going to give them to all of them.
No, I understand that, but when you put this report together, I mean, it's when I look through it and I see that there's, you know, 320 calls, but a lot of these calls are back to back to back. I'm like, okay, well, that's just one call there. This is one call here.
Now, what,
Um,
probably on that one too, what we got to remember is sometimes when there is two officers, if the officer checks in, the other officer checks in, it's going to count the same time. There are two different officers there.
But it could still be one
It could still
call,
be one call, you're correct.
you know.
I got to look into it. I don't know.
Okay.
I
Okay,
can't, I don't want
I
to give
just
you a
want-
definite answer and it is one call, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just
I
want to
got it.
make sure that we're looking.
For documentation purposes, if that's the reason that it has to be separated, because documentation purposes, you have to prove that you went to all three.
Correct.
Versus just, oh,
Yeah.
I went over there and did that one.
Or
call.
both officers got
Different
there.
checking.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at, because documentation's a big thing.
Right.
I don't know how you're.
Yeah.
It's got the address.
Correct, correct. If we want to look into it, you come into the office and we could click it and look at it more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is more of a, like you say, it's more of a document that the officer did get there and that how many did get there, you know, and not say, hey, I did get there over the radio, but you didn't document it on there that you got there. Because if we go back, something does happen, and the officer says, I did get there and it's not on here. Now we got a problem because you radioed that you were there. So.
Yeah.
Chief, I got a question. In May, according to the judge, you had 196 citations. That's not 196 calls here. Is that a different?
Citations, yeah, I don't put citations on here.
That kind of be nice too, because then you can say we.
Well, and I'll tell you why, because we do written citations too, so mine won't be accurate.
Okay.
For the reason is because when we do a written citation, it doesn't go in our system. The only ones that go in our system are the ones that you actually put in our, that you actually do a ticket writer.
Because there'll be more here than there'll be a
There'll be-
lot. It'll be 196.
Yeah, oh yeah, we'll have a lot more.
That's kind of making like, you ain't working.
Yeah, oh no, our citations will have way
Okay.
more
'Cause
calls
this
on
still-
there. Yeah.
They don't match.
Yeah.
That's-
No, I could print out the citations that we do have on CopSync, but of course it's going to be more because some of the officers
Yeah, 'cause there's
don't have a
some-
computer in their unit,
Yeah.
so they actually do a written one.
Just because they said they don't match. That's-
Yeah.
Okay. No problem.
No, yeah, no, you'll have way more calls if you actually put
Yeah,
citations
that's
on
what
here.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
A lot of these are incidents.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, on the citation, on the traffic thing, I could actually print a traffic one next time, and that way y'all could
Yeah.
compare both. of them.
Yeah.
So in June, you had 32, in May, you had 55, in April, you had 38, but that doesn't cover the 911, and that doesn't cover the traffic citation.
The traffic, yeah, not the traffic
Right.
citation.
So there's still some more that are, and there might be some that are duplicated to David's point.
Yeah, there might be some that might be the same call like the mayor said, yes.
Well, I think I've seen the citation. I mean, when they interact with traffic, you know, with the report from the county, and that's really a lot of the work that our officers do is, you know, traffic, which I do
We
want
do
to
have a major corridor, Highway 77 in front of our, yeah, so it is gonna be a lot of traffic.
How do our citizens know to call 911 or to call the police station?
It's up to the citizen. Citizens sometimes, like I said, sometimes they'll call 911 because there's,
So do they call the police station at 10 o'clock at night?
it transfers to the sheriff department.
Or it transfers over there?
Mhm. After the ladies leave at 5 o'clock, it transfers to the sheriff department automatically. Sometimes they call them straight over there, sometimes they'll call our department. And gives them more options sometimes. Believe it or not, when they call 911, sometimes they'll call because there's a dog wandering around, or sometimes they'll call the disturbance in the regular call instead of 911.
You find more people using 911 or the police number, the police station number?
That's hard to tell because we don't have our dispatch here. You'll have to ask the sheriff department that.
Okay.
On our part, we do get calls during the day, and we don't have 911. So
So let me ask about the building checks. I see like 19 calls for, I mean, are those the abandoned buildings that we have in town that,
Some are actually the restaurants. They're the dollar stores, stuff like that. We make sure everything's secure.
okay.
The commercial as well.
So it's not necessarily a
Very
call
clean.
out, you just kind of going over there, making sure that.
Sometimes
after-
they'll call and say, hey, we saw somebody go into the building. It considers a building check. Or sometimes the officer at graveyards will make sure that everything's secured to the whole city.
Okay, so it's not necessarily a call, it's just, they're just going out to just.
Just make sure everything's
you know,
secured. Yeah,
okay.
because we've actually caught some commercial places that they leave their door open, and we've called for them to come and close it because they left the door open.
Right.
Last person out, they forgot to close the door, and the officer catches it. They call me, and I have to call the, whatever restaurant it is or commercial
Okay.
it is.
That's what I thought, when I was reading it. I'm like, there's a lot of building checks, but I figured it was
It's
probably just
mainly, and
something
you
like that.
notice it's mainly the graveyard guy that does it
Yeah.
because it's late at night when
Mhm.
everybody leaves.
Okay.
The next we have is gonna be our impound. That's gonna be this one here. I did give it to you from October because this is the first time some of you have seen it. So it's from October to now. You can see what is collected and what is actually paid to our record service and what is kept. Of course, this only went to June 23rd, so we didn't get it all the way to the end of the month. There's a little bit more because someone came at the end of the month.
So does, now, I don't know the answer, I'm gonna ask you. So somebody has a vehicle sitting there forever and y'all decide to auction it off. Does that show?
No, this is not included on there. The auctions are separate.
Okay. And does that vehicle, do you all decide on your own, or do you get the city involved in that, or do y'all just?
No, what happens if there's a certain day period that they have for the vehicle to stay there? We actually send letters, and they have the letter, it specifies what day they have to come and retrieve it. If they don't retrieve it, it's pretty much abandoned. So what we do is we end up sending it to the auction place here locally. Yeah, Elko. And once Elko auctions it, once we receive the forms, we get the mayor actually to sign some of them, the forms, and then the check goes to Janie to. Mhm.
Yeah, pretty much after the fact, but this past auction, I wasn't aware of what was going to auction. I was told afterwards of what went to auction, so.
Yeah.
But it was kind of our first
Every
round, so-
month it goes, if we have, it goes to auction if they have room. Sometimes I think we would have been denied, like probably ones that didn't have room. So we waited the following month to actually take them, and they took all the vehicles. Isabel's real good at having all the letters. Of course, you gotta have the letters, you gotta have all the documentation, everything before you take anything out there.
Can I ask, when you guys send these letters, are these letters sent out certified or just
Yes.
regular mail?
Certified.
And when we get a letter back that wasn't received, and I know this happens on occasion, where the person that the car was impounded from may not have had the address. His address on his license may not have been correct. He
Well-
may have relocated.
Yeah, we'll go with the registration. According to state, it says we have to go with the registration of the vehicle.
Okay.
So the VIN, when we run the VIN, it's the registration of the vehicle. Some of these vehicles some of them are stolen. So it's actually the, what's it called, where they sell the vehicles, whoever it is, it's going to be either individual or it's going to be a place where they sell the vehicles. We send them the letter, and we also send the last owner of the vehicle, if it's a used vehicle, to them to go ahead and tell them, hey, and most of the time they'll call, say, hey, I already sold it to this place, or I traded it in, or anything like that. So we wait for their response. When it's something that most of the time the driver is not their vehicle. And I will say that 95% of the time, it's not a person from in town. It's an out of town person that's either doesn't have no insurance or has documentation that we can't find no VINs or anything like that. And most of the time they're transporting vehicles that, hey, it's not mine. I don't know anything about it. So stuff like that. Mostly when it's local, we know who it is. We try to make contact, and we try to try as much as we can to tell them, hey, you got so much. Sometimes it passes 45 days, but sometimes, if it's 50 days or anything and they couldn't pick it up, we let it go. We're not going to be taking it to the auction. We're not here to sell vehicles. We're here just to make sure the vehicles in the road safely. They got insurance, they have driver's license, and it's not a salvage vehicle. Because you can't drive a salvage vehicle on the road. So we try to just make sure it's out there safely, so, somebody's coming in and says, hey, can you give us 10 days, and I got to tell them, go and give them 10 days or anything like that. I'm not here to sell somebody's vehicle.
So how many notices do we send out when a vehicle?
When we send one notice, that's all we have to send. And we send it to, like I said, anybody who's done that registration. Sometimes you get somebody that's 3 people in that registration. Because, it's been sold, so we send them to all 3. Because we want to make sure that somebody responds to it. If the driver does come and says, hey, you know what, I know it is, we get information from them, we try to send it out so they come pick it up.
What if the vehicle started leaning on it?
It goes to the bank.
It goes to the dealer.
It goes to the bank, it goes to the insurance, or it goes to whoever has accessible to it.
And all these letters are certified?
All these are certified, yes.
Okay.
And actually, Isabel has everything on there, what comes back, what doesn't come back, because the auction place will not take them, and they're not certified. We have to follow the auction requirements as well.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the auction is going to do their part too, what they do on their side as well.
Hey, Gerald, in the
Yes.
future, are you able to include the auction, what y'all
Yeah,
sent to
I
auction?
can. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll do that.
We can easily go back and get a report.
Oh, yeah. Isabel has all the reports, puts them on a spreadsheet, what comes out.
I would want to see that.
And as well, what we have is when the auction sends us what we sold, it tells you how much it was sold for and everything. So it's got everything on there. And I don't sign anything. I've always let the mayor, whoever's the mayor, sign it. I've never signed anything to go to auction and goes to auction. I try to keep it for the city to sign it so that way they know what's going, how many were sold and how much it was sold for, stuff like that. We don't have any questions. Next, we did get audited by the state. This is this one right here with the little symbol on there. We passed everything, as you could see. This is no deficiencies noted. So we had our requirements we were supposed to have for the state. And when the state comes, it's TICO. TICO actually comes and they actually check all our files, that the officer has all their trainings, the officer has all their qualifications, from their firearms to everything they're supposed to have. Every 2 years, they're supposed to have 40 hours. So right now, everything we pass, we had no problems. Of course, I got with the mayor, told them they were coming in. They were nice enough and told me they were coming in on Wednesday at 1. They ended up coming in at Wednesday at 11. So we ended, so which was okay. We keep up with our files every year. So
What happened to the other 2 files? It's 7 of 9.
that was mine and one of the other reserves that Huey had seen. When he came in last time, he came and looked at ours. All these other officers were after COVID. So he's like, okay, I need to see your officers because I already know yours and the other officers.
Oh, 7, 9 officers.
Yeah.
That's,
Mhm.
yeah, it says audit.
Yeah.
I don't say officer, so.
Yeah, it just says, yeah, those 2 was just mine and the other officers that was already here
Okay.
before.
Who keeps up with this, Isabel?
I do. No, this one, I do because this affects my license.
And does the city have any copy of those?
No, and that those TICO files have to stay at the police department. And the TICO file is separate from their HR file. Because when the TICO guy comes, he says, I just want this. There's a list that we follow through, and that's it.
But how does the city administrator know that you're current?
It's my responsibility because I'm not current. They revoke my license.
Well,
They're not gonna revoke hers. They revoke mine. So I.
No, but I was saying, but she's in the loop. Like-
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. When we're gonna get audited, I called her and told her we're gonna get audited this day. Sometimes they'll say Wednesday, they'll come Monday, Tuesday, but we're ready since day 1. We try not to let it go. And the firearms is one of them that we always have to keep up. That's one of the main ones. The officers have to fire at least once every year. They have to pass their firearms.
And everybody's up to date?
Yes, everybody's up to date. We actually just went. The mayor approved this for us
Yeah.
to went to the range.
Was that you got, because the day that you reached out to me about the officers that needed to be qualified as well as yourself, was that something that TCLO found?
No,
on
there
that?
was 2 that needed to be qualified, which we were okay because they were qualified in 2022, which was our new, Nikki was a cadet. She came out of the academy in 2022. But I decided to qualify everybody. That way nobody was not, was missing anything. So I just redid it again. Everybody was still up to date, but we still did it. We do it across the board all the time. We have qualification. That way, and that's every department. Every department, they just do it all across the board. That way they can't say, well, one's missing or two's missing or anything. Everybody just goes and does it. And I have to do it as well because I'm a peace officer. Last report I have is the permits. These are all just pretty much, this is what Rosie and Isabel work on there for the permits. They actually collect all the permits and the fees and so on. And then we just,
Are these, water, who does the water permits?
no, that's, what's his name? From the CSI.
You do that,
No, that's a Mark Moreno.
no, but who issues the water permits? I mean, the water tax, water tax.
Oh, no, that's not us at all. That's them. That's the city. That's city.
Okay, water tax is them. Okay.
Yeah, no, the CSI is, that's gonna be Mark Moreno, he's the one who does that.
CSI number.
Yeah, the water tap is a city.
And then the builder, like, we got a new builder coming in, he gets say he's gonna build a new home. How much is that running for a new home?
Well, I don't know. It matters in the square footage and all that. I don't deal with the, how much it comes out to. I just, deal with, make sure that they're actually going through. He's one of the builders here, as a matter of fact.
No,
Yeah.
I asked him, don't worry about that, I asked him.
Yeah.
But I noticed Oldham South has 50 new houses. And I only see one or two. So
Oldham
that's a lot
South.
of money we're not getting on building permits.
Oh, no,
Actually, there's like 20 something, because over there where you live, there's 11 houses there. There's 50 over there. I only see.
No, everybody gets their
They're
permit.
not down here.
They might have gotten their permit like a couple of
Yeah, I was
months
gonna
before.
say.
Mhm.
But look, this is a year.
Process.
This is a whole year.
No, this is from October to now.
2020, October 2022 to now.
Now, what you gotta understand, there's also a subdivision that the city did a contract
yes.
that we do not charge for permits.
That agreement that.
Yes.
And who did that?
That was-
We did.
Previous council.
The previous council and myself. What happened is.
No, I don't want an explanation. I just said, I don't want an explanation. I just said. So,
yeah, that's
we're
why.
losing, that's like, that's a lot of over $30,000 we're losing.
Yeah, but that's not on me. That's just.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you understand
Yeah, yeah.
where we're coming
Yeah.
from.
No, I don't need explanation. I don't need explanation. I don't need explanation.
Yeah.
I'm talking to Gerald.
Yeah.
Gerald
Yeah.
is it says a report, not.
Yeah.
I have a question though. I see a lot of receipts here that are cash. Why can't these be checks or credit card? I mean.
Do we do
I
accept,
just
they do
don't-
accept cash or checks, but we don't have a credit card system.
Why do we not have a credit card system?
We asked for one. We never
Of
got
all the
one.
things that we spent money on, like thousands and thousands of dollars, we couldn't pay a
Yeah.
couple $100
And-
for a credit card
And
system.
at first, what happened is we weren't in charge of this. We were only in charge of the impound. So we're trying to get a credit card system for the impound. The problem is most of your impounds, some of them are paid with Mexico credit cards and they don't accept them. And to be honest with you, a lot of the credit cards that we had gotten, they're paying like $14 for a credit card, and these people barely want to pay what they're supposed to pay. They don't want to pay the extra $14. But we do accept money orders or the cash on there. If you want a credit card, if y'all want to give me a credit, that'll be great. Because as a matter of fact, when Hector was here the last time, the last councilman, y'all were going to look to get us a credit card, but we never got one. So I mean, if y'all want to, that'd be great to
I
get.
think we need to look, because I don't like the idea of using cash.
The only
I
thing
mean-
that we do need a landline. We don't have a landline at the PD. Our phone service is through our internet.
Okay.
So we're probably gonna need I don't know if we need a landline or not. So that's the only thing we might need to install. And then credit cards will be good. I mean, we don't mind doing credit cards. It's just,
Yeah, because.
right now it's just something that they're just taking cash or money orders.
Because I mean, I'm looking, just highlighting these right here. I mean, that's a lot of cash,
Mhm.
you know, and I mean, it just doesn't look, you know, again, I always talk about the way things, the perception. And when you're talking cash and when I have a person tells me, well, I went to the police department and they told me I couldn't pay with my credit card. I needed to get cash, you know,
Well, we
why
don't
am
have
I
access to a
bringing, you
credit
know?
card. Yeah. We don't
So,
have access to
I
a credit
mean,
card.
and
Yeah.
again, I mean, with all the
Yeah.
money that we spent, you know.
That's up to you, Mayor.
I
the
think
council
that we
do
need
it.
to,
If y'all approve us a credit card, yeah. I mean,
We have how we collect bills through Hammer, and then there's that other one that we just got. we could
Mhm.
ask them also.
Yeah.
See if they can just become, because it's through the internet, it's all.
As a matter of fact, I think,
Yeah, we just got
I
to
think
do it. I like-
before you came here, I had given a quote, 2 quotes to, and we
At
never
one
got-
time, didn't you guys collect the fees here at City Hall?
Yes.
When it originally started, yes, when the police
Okay.
department, we didn't have a police department, but when the county was with the city, yes, everything was at City Hall.
And you could collect
Let's
credit cards there?
report The fees, everything was collected there at City Hall.
And they could collect with a credit card then?
Don't think so,
Yeah,
Judge.
yeah, you did, because we were
Credit
concerned
card,
about,
yes, because
yeah.
we had through Hammer, yes.
we were concerned
Through Hammer,
about people coming in
yes.
with fake money, so that's why
Yeah.
we did
Through
the credit
Hammer,
card.
which is what
Okay.
we still have with our bills.
We
So-
accept credit cards. They come in and they pay with a credit card and it's taken in and.
So you do have a credit card machine
We just don't,
in
we
your
don't have a
office?
system.
In my office, yes, sir.
Okay,
And we
so,
don't
I
pay for
mean,
it.
But you're talking about two separate, you're talking about the court, you're talking about.
Yeah, we just don't have one. If we would get one, I'll be glad
I
to get one.
mean, if the court can have one and it doesn't cost us anything, correct?
No, sir.
So,
We don't pay.
Whenever, last year in May, when I went to TML, which is the gentleman that I spoke to, he's the one who installed the kiosks here. He mentioned that there is a system thing that he has to where when you like get stopped, they automatically get an email on your phone number. After you get your, I guess your citation, they turn around and shoot you a text message and an email.
Yeah, they got a
Right.
good system. I know who you're talking about. The only thing about it, it does not interface with CallLogic, which is our cop sync, our system, our ticket writers.
It doesn't?
It does not. That would have been
Oh.
great if we would get a system, their system.
He said it did.
No, it didn't because that's Mansour.
Amanda-
It's Mansour.
That's the one with the
Amanda.
kiosks.
Yeah, that's-
what we have.
yeah.
He did, right?
That's Mansour. We try to get
Yeah.
them to come over here, but cop sync would not work with them to interface with them. Because that would be,
And he said it did.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
it doesn't.
You can look into it.
yeah,
Yeah, as a matter, the last TML that we went to, we looked at it because they have a good system. So you get a citation, they actually,
We need to look into that.
they send to it.
Look into it,
Clark?
because he said that it-
Just make it generic about banking, whoever your primary, bank is that does your services. I would talk to whoever's responsible, whoever your reporting officer is, and they should be able to hook you up to the bank for all the credit card services you need.
I think we use Bank of Mir. We'll
so
probably get with the Max.
we can get with them, Ms. Janey, and see if we can get, because I just don't like the idea of, there's just way too much cash.
It's better reporting also.
You know.
It's
Huh?
more better for reports and stuff like that,
Oh, yeah, we don't mind. I mean, that doesn't bother us. It's another option to pay.
Well, I think we're gonna need to get away from cash, period. If we can get a system and
Yeah.
just.
The
get away
only
from
ones that
cash.
don't have cash are gonna be like the ones that are coming from Honduras and stuff like that. They
They're gonna-
they want to
they're
pay
gonna
cash.
cash your
They
check.
want to pay cash on there. They're
They can
afraid
go
to.
get a money order, they can go down the street and to Dollar General and get a prepaid card, I mean, whatever, so,
All I say, as long as y'all back us up when they complain, I'm good.
hey,
Yeah, that's our main thing. That way, when they complain that, that they didn't want to take it, because I know they complain about credit cards, I don't want them to complain about us not taking cash. Y'all back us up.
I would be one to complain to have to give cash
Yeah.
versus giving a credit card, because at least I have a paper.
And it's
trail.
usually, the opposite, but like I said, y'all back us up, that'll be great for me. That's not a problem.
any
Anything
other-
else on this?
Staffing wise, how are you in the office?
I got 4 officers right now.
4 officers?
Yeah.
You
And
should have how many?
6,
You should have 6.
well, 5 and 1 in Grant. I put it that way, so you can
5
6.
and 1.
5 and 1 in Grant.
didn't you have 2 on Grant? Or
No.
just 1?
Oh, no, the other one is the clerk.
Oh,
It's
okay,
it's not the officer, it's the clerk.
So 5 and 1.
Mhm. And I got 1 clerk on Grant, of course, our dispatch, our assistant actually was Isabel.
and 1 officer on Grant?
Yeah, I got 5, supposed to be 5 officers and 1 in Grant. And right now, we only have 4.
Yeah,
officers.
4
Mhm.
and 1. Right?
No,
No,
I just got 4 period.
So the Grant position for the officer isn't filled?
Right now, no,
Why hasn't it been filled?
because we were gonna fill it
Oh,
with
you're
with that
waiting on that
individual,
girl
but
to
she
graduate?
didn't want to take it. Mm-mm.
Okay,
She didn't want to be in the Grant.
So you short the grant.
I'm short the Grant and actually the extra officer, that's it. I'm short 2. which is one full timer and one grant officer.
They get reimbursed.
Okay, so what about in the office?
It's just Isabel and Rosie.
Two.
And Rosie's and Grant.
So there's a part-timer, does she have vacation? Well,
There's no part-timers.
No, she says
She's full-time.
She's full-time, but on
She's full-time.
but she has vacation and all that stuff?
Vacations included in the grant and everything. Sick leave.
And do the grant reimburse the city for this?
Yes.
Do we have some kind of document on it?
they sent the money to the bank, and then we had a copy of that.
And we actually have to get, we actually just covered because we actually have to report it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have to report it to the grant if we got it. Yeah, no. And it goes through there, as soon as something comes up, we submit it, it's up to the state to, take direct deposit, but no one's gonna take direct deposit. Yeah.
So I have just a couple of questions since I've had some complaints about when officers are doing traffic stops. I saw one myself, make a traffic stop at the statuary going to work. And then I had a report about an officer making a traffic stop south of Angelito Range. I mean, that's a little bit out of the
So
city
when the
limits.
officer sometimes, this is what I come offer, when you take over somebody, don't take off 100 miles per hour after that person.
You're gonna catch up to him. The violations happen in the city. Most of the time, they won't catch up to you to your Angelita States or something like that. It's even happened to me. That's when I do patrol. Sometimes I radar somebody, by the time I turn around, you got a lot of traffic on 77. Like I said, 77 is one of the main corridors we have. So by the time we make our U-turn and try to catch that speeder or anybody that passed the light or stop sign or anything like that, it might be outside of our city limits. So that does happen, yeah, that you're gonna get outside the city limits because the officer's not trying to wait to try to get over there.
Well, I can tell you the one that I observed myself at the statuary, he was behind that vehicle for a while because I was behind him. And then he lit him up around the statuary.
Mhm.
And
And you know what happens? We'll wait for the return. What happens? Well, I hate to say it, but you know the way we do it. But when we're following somebody, we're gonna run with the license plate. I'm not gonna pull you over because I don't know that car is stolen or not. Once the return comes and says that it's okay, we're gonna pull you
so
over.
how long are they going to tail that car before they pull it over? I mean, are they going to go all the way to Love's? I mean, to me, pull the vehicle over as soon as you can, stay in your vehicle till you get the return, and then, get out of the vehicle and go ahead and approach the vehicle. But if you don't get the return back, I mean, how far are you going to allow them to go out of the city limits to pull a traffic violation?
And I won't be able to answer that because I don't know if this was a call. Maybe they could have called the officer and said, hey, maybe there's a disturbance or maybe possible stolen vehicle, possible vehicle. Me and you don't know that because we weren't there in the officer's call. So it could have been a call or it could have just been a regular traffic stop. I would have to look into it. If it's going to be a call, until you stop the vehicle, until you stop the vehicle. If it's somebody who said, hey, somebody just assaulted somebody at Stripes, description of the vehicle, and he's waiting for backup or he's waiting for somebody to get closer until you stop the vehical. I'm going to be honest with you, because you got a call that somebody got injured, but I don't know that. I don't know if that was a call, it was just speeding, or it's just a traffic. You don't know that.
So
because
how
we weren't
long?
there on there.
My question is, how far out are you going to allow them to go on just a general traffic stop before they pull that vehicle over? I mean, are you just saying that they have to wait until they get a return on the vehicle? I mean, that could be till they get to Love's.
I mean, I don't understand what you're coming from. What's the
Well, because
is it
there's
jurisdiction? Is it
yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to see because there's a lot of complaints about vehicles being pulled over and citizens being pulled over way outside the city limits. You say, and I've had a couple said I was speeding, don't get me wrong. I was leaving town, but they didn't stop me until I was the other side of Angelito Range.
Like I said, I've been in that situation where I can't catch up to the vehicle.
No, but the two people that I'm talking about said that the vehicle was on the side of the road. When they passed them, they got behind them and stayed behind them past, before they
I won't be able to tell you why they did it. That part, I won't be able to tell you why they did it because we'll have to, like, if you get a complaint like that, sometimes like I ask you, hey, what's the date and time? So I could look at their body cam, look at their dash cam. I
Do
won't
we
be
have
able
a
to tell you why they
policy?
do it.
That's what I'm asking, I guess. Is there a policy in place? So when people do say, I say, oh, well, the policy is this.
We do have traffic stop policies, but we don't have, you can only stop once you pass Angela Estates, or you can only stop once you pass Love. We don't have that on there. I'm gonna be honest with you. Because, you know, it's a policy that actually is a general policy for the traffic for each officer that comes in.
Right, and that's just
So-
kind of a state.
Yeah.
thing in
It's
general.
something that, like I said, if it's something that's a situation like that, it's good to get a time and date. That way I can look into it to see
Yeah.
why did you do that? Because if the officer's doing wrong, well, the officer's doing wrong, we gotta fix it. But if the officer's not doing wrong, I need to know why you're out there.
You always see Corpus Christi PD on this side, right on the other side of on our side of
Mhm.
in San Patricio County.
Yeah.
They're all the way up out here in Kerr, so.
Because they can't stop on the bridge.
Yeah, and yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, and I've had a, and,
Frisco and Bishop too.
and I've had a situation before that we've had to follow somebody right across the bridge because they were actually waiting, county was looking for them, and we just told them all the way, and when county pulled over, we helped them out, you know, we're not gonna leave county out there by themselves if there's a big old disturbance in the county, but the officers found the vehicle, you know. Also, like the last time we had a stolen vehicle, it was going way past the Loves, it was coming from Corpus Christi, CCPD was trying to get over here. My officer followed it all the way and didn't stop it till CCPD got there. And I tell him, do that because that's not your call. But you're gonna assist. You're not gonna leave nobody alone. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're not gonna leave nobody alone to get hurt. Our safety is first with the officers. Yeah.
But I mean, I've seen CCPD close to where the pumps are, where San Patricio Water District has their pumps. That's already where the fireworks stand is.
Yeah.
So that's how far they.
Like I said, Mayor, I wouldn't be able to tell you unless we look it up and see
Well, I
what
think
happened.
just,
that
I
time.
guess what I would like to see is, you know, some kind of protocol that you instill or that you discuss with the officers going forward, that if it's just a general traffic stop, I mean, yeah, if it's a call, like I understand, if it's a call or a suspicious vehicle, of course, we're not going to pull the vehicle over if we're waiting for backup or waiting for somebody to come and assist, because I know that being in Travis County when I worked there, you know, those types of calls the officers were not allowed to pull them over until
Travis
another
County is
vehicle was
different
there.
compared to over.
You know,
we're kind of alone at the same time. So we're gonna get backup. Travis County, you got like probably like 20 backup people. To get
Yeah, but
out
you're
there.
still like 10,
Yeah.
15 minutes out. So it's a big county. So, but what I'm saying is to make sure that the officers, if they are just making just a regular traffic stop, that they go ahead and try to make it, you know, pull them over. If they need to sit in their vehicle while they get the return on it, you know, get the return and then make contact with the vehicle, you know.
And
get
I
out.
and I could look into it.
So it doesn't, so we
Yeah.
don't have these incidents where they're so far out of town and then it's, you know, you have these complaints that say people are saying, man, they followed me from the time I passed the taqueria and they were on me from the taqueria and they didn't light me up until I was on the other side of Angelito Ranch, you know, so.
Like I said, I'll look into it and I'm gonna go with my officer safety first and try to do a protocol for it. At the same time, like I said, we could try to do some kind of protocol, but my officer safety is gonna come first with that protocol. So we go ahead and like try to get them out there, you know what I mean? Same
That's
time.
not even half a mile out though. The
Yeah.
city limits are way out there.
And and I understand your point, you know, with the concern and the citizens' concern, stuff like that. It's just that it's a different story when you're there with the officer. It's good to have like a ride along or something. If anybody wants to come ride along, it'd be great to come and see so we could see exactly what the officer, what it takes to catch a vehicle sometimes, or to catch up to the vehicle, where you stop it, what you do. I would say probably 80% of the time, if you're radaring somebody close to the dollar store, they're not going to stop till they hit Angelita Estates because you radar them from the dollar store. So if they're going 80, 90 at that speed and you're barely taking off from the dollar store, you're going to pass Angelita Estates, you know.
Well, and I
something-
understand those.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, I understand those calls and I understand everything that you're saying. What I'm saying is the complaints that I've gotten, you know, they were being followed by the vehicle, and I don't know the dates. I may ask them. Maybe they can look if they got a citation.
Yeah.
They can look at what date it was. They were followed out of town and weren't pulled over until they were.
But the
you know,
violation
outside.
happened in town though?
The violation did happen, and like I said, they
Yeah.
said, "Hey, I was speeding. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but you know." He says, I was afraid to speed up to 75 because they were right behind me,
Yeah.
you know? So I said, okay, well, I'll ask. I said, I'll see what their protocol is, you know, and how far are we going to wait, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they caught him around, you know, right there for running a red light or something. You know,
Yeah.
there's no reason to be waiting.
Yeah, if it's close
until
by, I
we get-
understand, but like I said, we gotta probably look at the situation, if it's not
Yeah.
speeding. You gotta remember, like, the police officers at Holt, if that guy's going 90, ain't gonna catch up to
Mhm.
him at 90, you're gonna have to get up there, but like you said, if it's something that's a traffic stop and it's out there, we gotta
Yeah.
explain why, we
Yeah.
gotta know why. No, I'll look into it.
But you'll never see it the other way around. It's always going out. Because I was asked that too, that they would catch them coming in. I said, nope, you'll never see an officer catching them outside the city limits coming inside the city limits. It's always
Mm.
going out.
But well, like I said, I'll look into it and see what we could write up and come up with it. All we gotta do, we just have to approve it by the mayor and council and put it in the
Say,
policy.
let them up, Susie.
That's what I think.
Mayor, was it the city police department or the county department?
Oh, it was a city. It was a city.
That's a different also.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because we seen that the county moves a lot of people over there in Angelica.
Oh, yeah, the county can go wherever,
Well, the
pretty
county-
much, so.
The county does it and the PD has followed just for safety. They help each other out.
Just like our fire, we went out there, we were the first ones to respond to the fire. We're way past Angelita Estates. So, but we're gonna respond to fire because we want to make sure the traffic, smoke was getting too bad. Traffic was bad. We want to make sure the firefighter was okay. We're gonna respond way out there. So if somebody complains that we're out there with our lights trying to get out there, we're gonna get out there with the
Yeah.
fire because we're trying to make sure everything's okay.
Any other
Any
questions for the chief? All right, thank
Mayor,
you, sir.
council,
I
thank you.
appreciate it. Number 3, discuss and take action items to be considered. A, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the minutes for the regular meeting held on June 6, 2023.
I move to approve minutes of June 6, 2023.
We have a motion from Jesse, second from Mr. Dominguez. Place 1,
Yes.
place 2, place 3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
place 5. Motion carried. Item B, discuss, consider, and take action to approve a variance of 2.5 feet on the backside setback of the property line for Victor Ibarra at 102 Webb Street, Lot 12, Block 1, Odom South.
I move to
Have a
approve
motion?
the variance.
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Falcon, second by Mr. Huerta. Place 1,
Yes.
place 2.
Discussion.
Huh?
We have discussion.
Oh, I apologize. Any discussion?
So you're just gonna, because it's just,
Oh, I'm sorry.
He
I
wants
forgot
to-
he was
he
here.
wants to-
I forgot he was here.
You gotta-
I apologize.
You know, I sat here for an hour and a half. and
I've been
everything-
we've been looking at so many numbers. I'm like,
Good for all the yes.
I forgot that you were here.
Mr. Mayor, council members. Yes, so what we are doing is just, the requirements for, of course, as you know, for the building setback lines is 20 feet, which is quite a bit. And on this particular design, we are being over only 2.5 feet. On the back of the house of that property, we don't have any neighbors. To the left of that property, there's a street, and to the right of the property, it's one lot that we're building on as well. So, that's why we are requesting that variance.
See, he didn't have no awesome neighbors anyway, so that's a good thing.
Does anybody have any questions? Oh, no.
Again, I say yes.
Okay.
I didn't want to.
No.
I just wanted to, so you're a builder here. But
I'm good, sir.
yourself, you know?
I still have numbers in my head right now. Place 1, place 2, place 3, place 4,
Yes.
place 5.
Just
Okay,
one
motion
comment.
carried. Yes.
None of these, not on this, but, to the chief's point, when we started building there, we lost some material because people were stealing it. So we called the chief, and that's when they call and they send the people, and I have seen them just doing the rounds, making sure that, nobody's doing, something wrong. So, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Item C, action to accept the resignation / retirement of the city administrator. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept her resignation.
We got a motion by Mr. Dominguez. Do I second or second?
I second.
We have a second by Ms. Yolanda Alvaro. Any discussion?
So she's gonna start till the 28th?
She will be staying till the 28th to help finish up some budget items that we need to complete.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
Before the voting, Jenny, would you, let's say we have a hard time finding somebody and then we do find somebody that needs some guidance, would you be up for being a consultant and coming in as needed?
But if you don't need help, I mean, I'm not there.
So before we move on to vote, I just want to say that since I came in, this Jeannie has been very helpful to me. She's provided a lot of information. I picked up a lot of stuff really fast because of her help. I even asked her to please still answer my calls when I do reach out to her. So I do appreciate everything that you've done for me since taking office. You've been a lot of help. We only have a few more weeks to go, but we still have a lot to do. So thank you for what you've done and for willing to stay to the end of the month. So we're going to go ahead and vote. Place 1?
Yes.
Place 2?
Yes.
Place 3?
Yes.
Place 4?
Yes.
Place 5? Motion carries. We will accept the resignation of our city administrator, Ms. Janie Martinez. Item 4, reports. Council, anybody have any reports, anything they'd like to share?
I guess are you gonna have a special call or something, since you do have a freeze on hiring, since the situation's kind of arise now with Janie's position? Are we gonna meet or? what's
Well,
gonna be the game plan, do you know?
We will have to kind of meet to discuss filling the position. I know that Ms. Janie's going to help we're going to be contacting TML so they can post the position. We're going to start taking applicants. We're going to be looking at, expanding our pool overall.
Great.
Try to bring in somebody who can kind of help get us in the right direction. So we will start posting her position this week.
You're also going to put it in Corpus Christi?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll put it in the newspaper. Anybody else? Any reports?
Patchen and Odom South were the new builders. How are we doing with that? Are we finished there with all the patching?
We're finished.
'Cause I know he's gonna be using the road a lot over there.
We are finished. Mr. Redgate's supposed to go and take a look, but like I said, he had surgery to go and finish up, making sure that everything's still intact, that the work was done, satisfactory. And once he gets a chance to go out there and take a look at it, then we'll, right now, I think we haven't paid off the balance of it. So we're still just finishing up, trying to get it inspected.
And that's just Odom South, right?
Correct. That's just Odom South.
I have
Yes, ma'am.
the ditch behind my house. Are we gonna be able to get into it now that it's dry to get those sunflowers? Leaves?
Yeah, what we're gonna do is, I guess I'll have one of the maintenance guys, maybe David, go out there and take a look, make sure. The plan was from the very beginning, since they dug out that area, to try to help with the drainage was to let it dry out, go in there and knock it down, mow it down, and then treat it. So we didn't have to worry about the growth. But of course, we had that water leak. We had the one water leak that they reported to Mr. Falcon, and then they repaired that. And then we found another water leak. So I'll have Mr. Barnes go out there and take a look. And if it's dry enough, we'll see about getting them to clear it out and then hopefully treat it so we don't have to worry about the weeds and cattails growing back anytime soon. That's kind of the goal. Anyone else?
Street sweeping?
Mr. Mayor, and we see, say that we're driving at night, we see a water leak, like say 10, 11 o'clock at night, we contact him. I used to contact Billy. Has Billy.
Well,
It'll be 1 o'clock in the morning, Billy, then water leak.
you can contact me all you want. You may not give me answer, but you can leave me a message or you can text me, give me an address, and we'll get on it the next day. But
And you're welcome to still call me. I mean, I've got the numbers to the guys out, and again, water's expensive, and the mayor said we're having to pay for it. Sometimes there's thousands of gallons that by the next day you already spent.
so there is a number.
We have an answering service. If you call our main number, our 368-2831, it'll go direct to our dispatch and they will contact the person that's on call, regardless of what hour it is.
No, I just like what this from the mayor.
Well, some people don't know about it.
But it's on the website, right? The number?
Yeah, it's a main number.
Okay.
The main number. Street sweeping, we still have some roads. We got pulled away because of some of the water leaks and other work orders, but I think they did all of the east side. He was doing it today? Okay. Yeah, they didn't. So they should be finishing up. They should be going over to Odom South here pretty soon to finish. I know they're going to start treating the weeds again because some of the first treatment didn't really on the side of the road and stuff. So they're going to do that again as well. And so.
How about 77? Can we get 77 swept up?
We can, but we'll need to coordinate with the police department to help, you
The
know.
donut guy, he keeps on complaining.
Yeah,
To Isaac.
yeah, whenever y'all gonna do it, just tell me and I could try to get, an officer or myself, go out there and get in a unit and just follow
Yeah, so.
them. As long as you tell me a day before,
Because, you
that
know,
way.
yeah, it's hurricane season, it's gonna clog up, you know, all that stuff's gonna clog up
Correct.
in our drain, and like I said. we need
But
to
yeah,
have
we
screen,
can do 77.
'cause it's hurricane.
I will get with the chief because we need to get together and do our hurricane plan pretty soon. So I'll, yeah, we'll talk. I'll talk to you tomorrow and we can see about designating a date and time to start preparing for that just in case.
And then one quick one, just in the news today, that the mosquitoes, they had some kind of mosquito that's out there that's, what is it, contagious? Babe,
What's
the mosquito that's out there that's deadly to everybody? The
deadly mosquito?
The West Nile?
The West, this is, it's another one.
Dengue. No, it's,
It's out there, it's in.
malaria.
Malaria.
What?
Yes, there's a mosquito out there, malaria, so.
Can we get,
No, that's it.
Don't bring it into
Yeah.
play, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
A lot of people don't have computer access to
Yeah.
it. Maybe she can put it with.
Miss Janie? Mr. Dominguez here was asking about this little thing here. Is there some way where we could send this out with the water bills or something for people that don't have access to
Just for the
email?
veterans, or-
Yeah, I saw that. I haven't seen it. I guess it was brought in, just
Yeah, I
put
think
in
the
there.
bill posted it
Yeah,
on-
Miss Donna?
We posted it on
Yeah,
our-
the police department, that's where I saw it, police department.
Facebook on there, so. People
Yes,
get
we can
information.
put it on our Facebook. We can put it.
Well,
on
I'm talking about, you know, a lot, some of those people don't have that.
Yeah,
I'm talking
Facebook
about
or,
if you put it with the water bill, just to,
Little flyer?
they're gonna get the water bill.
Epic.
Oh, yeah.
our bills. We have to put it in an envelope, put postage on them individually.
oh, okay.
And the dates.
So that's from July 1st.
To June 30th.
Well, that's backwards, no? Oh, 2024.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's 2024. So we will, Ms. Donna, we will post it. I mean,
If you would, on your
and
personal Facebooks, but your network of friends and business is so much bigger than mine.
Okay.
It would be wonderful.
we'll definitely, well,
Mr. Guzman and his partner there are there every day. This is tremendous. If you're sick and you need a way to the doctor, they pay for it. You can't make your utility bills. You have to be a veteran. What a simple qualification. Yeah.
we will definitely,
I mean, they'll pay for that.
we will definitely get this out there, too. I mean, because I mean, I do know, I mean, my dad's a veteran and I know that sometimes he has a difficult time. So we'll definitely get this out there, for sure. Um, Anyone else? Yeah. What is this, a TML? This is for us,
The conference.
for the conference?
Yes, that's for the conference. If anybody is wanting to attend, you'll let me know. I already have two. I tried getting in there this morning. I was not able to get through. It crashed. It completely crashed. TML's website crashed where they were trying to, so many people were trying to.
Yeah, they send out an
Get
email.
registered.
They send out an email to that.
So everybody's trying to run that.
So do have two right now. So if anybody else is wanting to go, you'll let me know so that I can try tomorrow. Okay? I have Billy, I have Jesse, and I have Elizabeth. Anybody else?
I'll look at the date and I'll let you know tomorrow for sure. Yeah, I'll look at my work calendar to see if it's again. September 23rd is my birthday, so we can celebrate it. And where's this gonna be? Victoria? Oh,
That'd be good.
oh, the big one? Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Hmm.
That's the quarterly.
Yeah.
It's gonna be held in Victoria this time, September.
And on that one, I'll probably end up putting in for president. I'm vice president, so. who wants president? And also, people wondering about EDC, we're gonna have probably EDC meeting coming up pretty quick. We'll try to get one.
So one of the things that I've said from the very beginning, when I started running for mayor, is about being honest and letting the community know where the city stands, especially when it comes to its finances. And I've been looking at a lot of numbers since I took office, to try to see, because ultimately, these five folks here are the ones that make the decisions for what we do in the city. My role as mayor is to make recommendations to them, and I can't make recommendations to them if they don't have information. But I have to kind of try to gather that information and then provide it to them. And one of the things that, and an expense report that I recently got, it's concerning to me when our expenses are exceeding our overall revenue. And I'm looking at just one here in our general fund, and these numbers are going to be really large numbers. Our year to date, when in collecting, and Ms. Janey, the general fund, what is the revenue that what is that like associated with the?
What comes in?
Right, what is it that?
Accounted for in the general fund?
Right.
Okay, your property taxes, your sales taxes, which also includes for EDC and street maintenance, your franchise, permits, no, yes.
License and permits?
The permits, licenses, fines, but mostly it's your property taxes and your sales tax
Okay.
that makes up the revenue.
So year to date, we've collected $1,354,477.60, which it's a large number. Our expenditures for the same time year to date is $1,720,223.18, which basically is a deficit of $365,754.58. So the general fund is, what does it pay, Ms.
What
Jamie?
does it pay?
Like, what is it? Is that where our,
It pays, the general fund pays your city employees, your maintenance employees, your police department, your volunteer fire department, your EMS, the library, parks, miscellaneous, all of that falls under general fund.
General fund.
All of those departments.
Okay. So right now, how much money does the city have in the bank right now? Like, as far as like cash, full
Bank
cash?
account,
Yeah.
It's sitting at approximately almost 180,000.
So about 180,000. And how much are our bills each month?
It can vary up anywhere between 200,000 to 300,000.
Okay. So right now, as it stands, we really don't have enough to even pay. I know that today I signed some checks and there was 100 and, if I'm not mistaken, 140,000
40,000.
in checks.
One set of bills.
Correct.
They were due on the 10th.
So that would pretty much defeat what we have in our bank right now, almost.
Yes, of course you have money that's coming in every day.
Right.
But it's not the same until you start collecting taxes.
Right. Right.
And it doesn't come around till November.
That's what we gotta stay current, so build it.
So we are, right now, we're in the last quarter of this year, correct? Right, we started the last quarter of the year, so whatever we have right now has to get us through this last quarter. That includes any revenue coming in from water bills and garbage and stuff like that. Okay. So the other one that we have here is called a system fund. What is a system fund?
This is your water and sewer. Whatever you collect from water, sewer, from taps, water lines, sewer lines, things like that, that is money that goes into your system fund.
Okay.
And the positions that are out of there, would be your utility clerk. And out in the field would be your men or man in the water department. And anything, any kind of repairs on water lines, sewer lines, collapsed sewer lines, anything like that, all of that comes out of
This fund. So if this system fund doesn't have enough money or doesn't generate enough revenue to cover its expenses, where does that other revenue come from? Does that come from the general fund? If we have,
It comes out of your pool cash.
okay,
You have just one fund that pays out to all three of your general, your system, and your garbage.
okay, and that's the one that you said there's about 180,000 left in for right now.
Everything goes in there.
Okay,
Even money that comes in, like your permits, like your deposits, your water deposits, all of that, it all goes into that one.
okay.
So from there, it's distributed out into the three departments.
Right. So actual year-to-date numbers for this system fund that we've collected is $927,431.78. Is that correct?
Yes.
But our expenditures for that same time is $1,534,245. And that's for the repairs and also the fees for the guy, the maintenance, the water person, and the person at the office
Yes,
here.
and anything that breaks out there as far as water lines, sewer lines, lift stations, sewer plant, anything that falls under water or sewer, that's where it comes out of.
So, I mean, just doing the math there, the deficit there is like $606,813. Where does that $600,000 come from? Cool cash?
Which we only have 180,000, right?
Which we only have 90,000 in there right now.
Right now, yes. And year to date, that is what has been pulled out of pool cash overall.
Overall.
For the system, plus what you mentioned from the general.
From the general fund. That's what's been pulled out of pool cash to cover
Yes.
these deficits.
Which is where your CDs play part.
Right,
That's where your CDs were cashed in and put into full cash.
to cover these
To
expenses.
cover-
The contracted service that we have.
Yes, to cover the contractor servicing thing, yeah. So the other fund that we have is the garbage fund, and that's, what is that garbage
The
fund?
garbage fund is your, basically, Republic,
Okay,
the, what is collected for, garbage fees, penalties, and garbage sales tax. That's where that revenue comes in.
okay,
And your biggest expense out of there is your, garbage collection, which is
Right.
Republic. Plus, anything that is at the collection site that we have to take and get rid of, plus the dumpsters and all of that comes out of this fund.
out of this fund, okay. So. I'm
Where's the
sorry.
collection site on here? Would it not be on here?
In here, no, because it all falls under the landfill, under your Republic for collection.
All right.
I mean, I can give you an amount, and I don't have it with me,
That's
but
okay.
it can be broken out.
So in this particular fund, year to date, we've collected $393,585.72, and our expenditures for that same time is $301,413.62, which we're in the black, we're in a positive $92,172. So of the three funds that we have, the only one that really has any money
Self-sustaining.
self-sustaining is this garbage.
But that one, we always raise up the garbage fees, don't we? The water we,
You have not raised
No, we
garbage
didn't raise
fees,
garbage
water
this
or
past time.
sewer and since
Because
about
we haven't had-
2018.
we haven't done the water in how many years?
Since
Well,
2018.
Yeah, it's been a while.
2018.
Yeah, so that's,
But the garbage too, we
None
didn't
of
raise,
that has
we haven't
been
raised
raised.
garbage.
So.
Yeah, so it's still sustaining
It's
itself.
still-
The garbage is, the water, not so much. In our general fund, not so much. So, like I said, one of the things that I've talked about through my election was that I was going to be very open and honest. There's going to be a lot of decisions that are going to have to be made by these 6 people here relatively soon, because we still have another quarter to go. And so we have some departments that are already exceeded their 75% of their budgeted, what it was budgeted to them for this fiscal year. So they still have another 25%, I guess 25% of the year to go. That's why we kind of put a freeze on hiring. I want to make sure that the employees that we have right now get paid. You know, if we need paper towels, you know, printing machine paper, whatever it is, I mean, some of that's going to have to kind of be put on hold if it's going to be way too big of an expense. Because, I mean, we can't continue down this same path. Financially, the city is not going to be, I mean, if we don't make changes and some recommendations and drastic ones, the city's not going to be able to sustain this path much longer. I've provided a lot of information to council members, and I'm going to continue to provide a lot of information because I want everyone to be able to make a very honest and forthright decision when it comes time to do this, because I do expect our city to grow. We have builders here who want to come. We have investors who want to help with the city and put Odom out there on the map. But we have to make some changes internally if we want to continue to do well and to prosper moving forward. So that's why I wanted to share this with y'all, so y'all understand where we are financially and why some decisions are going to have to be made here pretty soon. So I hope that you guys appreciate that we're providing this information to you. but we still have a lot of way, we have a long way to go still. So, do you guys, anybody have any questions or comments?
We got budget coming up too, so budget would be a lot of cuts in budget.
Yeah, so we do have budget talks coming up, and we are gonna have to kind of look at this really closely. I know some of our, Mr. Huerta, he's got his own business, so he understands finance. Miss Yolanda, she works with the school district and she understands the importance of budgeting and being able to stay within budget. I know Mr. Dominguez also, he works a lot with budgets and his work and the importance of it. You know, we have Mr. Falcone, and he's been here for a while and they've been doing this for a while. And Miss Elizabeth comes with a lot of ideas that I think are very, and not only ideas, but recommendations that I think are going to be very beneficial. So I appreciate you guys coming out again. If anybody doesn't have any other questions.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, adjourn, motion made by Jesse Falcone, second by Isaac Dominguez. All in favor? Aye.